With us here in the Scholars Chair is former Muslim Interfaith Dialogue Director Noor-Malika Chishti. Our topic of discussion is what is interfaith dialogue from an Islamic perspective? I have seen you online leading Jumu'ah prayer, which is very unusual here in the East Coast. But I was glad to see it because we need to have more representation of the diversity of Islam. And I really appreciate you representing that. And that's the reason why I wanted to talk to you, is because you were challenging the stereotypical norms.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and I am sure that you've gotten some feedback from the crusties, I call them. But I want to get your input because 40 years is 40 years. I mean, that's like a double PhD anyway. So I wanted to find out from you, is interfaith dialogue important to you as a Muslim? And if so, why is that? Just speak from your heart. Don't look at your notes. Just tell me
Okay. Well,
why you
first
think it's important.
first of all, I came to Islam through Sufism,
Hmm.
and how I came to Sufism happened in a dream. I had a dream of this East Indian looking man in a long robe standing in front of a gate, and he just was looking at me. And right after that, a friend of mine, the late Hamza El-Din, who's a oud master from Nubia, bought me a book he thought I would like because it was on children. And when I opened the book, there was a picture of the man I dreamed about.
Uh,
So then I was sitting at an outdoor cafe reading that book, and this woman came walking across the street carrying a brand new baby. She sat next to me in the cafe, and when her food was delivered, I said, "Oh, I'll hold your baby for you." And I put my book down, and she said, "My teacher's father wrote that book."
mm,
And so then
wow.
she said her teacher was coming to Los Angeles. So that's how I got introduced to the teachings of Hazrat Inayat Khan,
Mm,
who was, of course, a Muslim, but he welcomed people from all religions. He didn't require people to convert to Islam. But I decided I wanted to learn about Islam since that was the root. And
mm,
so it was Ramadan, and a friend of mine took me to a mosque
mhm.
and introduced me to the imam. And I sat with the sister he introduced me to, and she taught me how to pray. And so I started feeling like I wanted to convert. So on the night of Laylatul Qadr in 1999, I said Shahada.
You said this.
And it was a beautiful experience. And so Murshid said that he spoke about the Islamic roots of Sufism. And I want to offer a quote from him. He said that Sufism is an extension of the Islamic revelation and the integration of its essential guidance by those who delved into the inner heart of faith. So
Mm,
that's what led me to Islam.
mhm.
And
Wow.
my kids stood with me in front of 1,000 people as I said Shahada.
Oh, that's lovely. That
It
is
was
lovely.
it was really beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, why does interfaith dialogue uh, move you so? I mean, it's you've been doing this for a long time. Why do you
Well,
do it?
well, because often when people are talking, they're not busy listening. They're busy thinking about what they're going to say, right?
Yeah.
In response. So interfaith dialogue is there are tools that we learn, like we take classes, nonviolent communication, Marshall Rosenberg's work.
Mm,
We do compassionate listening training. And
mhm,
so we learn to be present in the moment when we're speaking with others.
mhm,
And that way people feel validated. And we're not trying to convert anybody. That's not what interfaith dialogue is about. It's about coming to know one another.
Mhm, mhm. That's
So that
I think that's excellent, and I agree with your assessment completely. Is there in your view an Islamic mission in this? Bringing people together. Is Are we talking about something that is a part of the tradition, part of the Quran, part of the way
oh,
the Prophet?
def definitely. I think that because dialogue helps us to accept differences in others, we can work with others. Like when, I mean, most Muslims have Christian or Jewish, some other, maybe uh, Druze, other people of different faith. And so, how are they going to make communities that are harmonious without dialogue with each other?
Yes, yes, yes.
Really
That
important.
makes perfect sense. And I must say that that the Quran talks about this often, how important it is to love God and to love the neighbor, and it reminds us who are reading it that this has been said to us before.
Yes, yes.
Like you just mentioned, that other people of other faiths have been exercising dialogue for a long time. And so it is something fairly natural to the human experience. I agree with you.
I, I have I've had an experience with a woman that I've been in like three, maybe four different interfaith groups. She's Jewish,
Mhm.
and she said something to me once that was difficult for me to hear because I felt like she wasn't being sympathetic to me as a Muslim. So we had a disagreement that was affecting we were in the Parliament of World Religions group, and it was affecting the other members. So one of the men in our group, who was a Catholic priest, offered to meet with us. So we came to his house, and he had set up this space so beautiful with incense burning and candles, and there was this beautiful attunement. And he sat down and guided us through a dialogue. And when it was all over, this woman and I, we were like in love with each other. It was just beautiful. And she's a very close sister that I've done a lot of interfaith work, and we continue to do it because we were able to dialogue and deal with our differences.
Yes, yes, yes. So you're talking about skill as well as a theological requirement. So
Oh, definitely,
yeah,
definitely.
that's something that most people who are involved with interfaith dialogue, they don't talk about the skill of conversation very often.
Exactly. Yeah. Where do you hear? And in fact, in Islam, we have I don't remember the name of the book, but it's on the etiquettes of disagreement.
Right.
How do you disagree? And once I was at a conference with Muslims in interreligious dialogue, and after the conference, people who were ready to go to the airport were sitting and having a conversation, and there was a disagreement. And
Mm,
I watched these people have a dialogue using these techniques, and it blew my mind. It
yeah.
was like so beautiful to see that. I had never seen that any place before. So
Mm,
that's another resource that I would suggest people explore the etiquette of disagreement,
mhm.
Marshall Rosenberg's uh, nonviolent communication. And then there's uh, Kay Lindahl does work in compassionate listening. And each of them have resources to help people do that.
Mm, mm. That's excellent. And something we have always tried to come to this discussion from a theological point of view, and we I think that we can agree that is the theological support for speaking and having relationships with your neighbor, and but very few people actually study the skill of how to do that, and that's where the challenge really is, isn't it?
It
Uh,
is.
yeah.
And it's like we can intellectually know a lot. We could recite all the scripture we want, all the resources we want. But if we haven't integrated that into who we are, into being that, we have to have a balance between knowing and being.
Mhm, mhm.
And then otherwise you just talk from your head and you forget the heart where you have the experience.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's an excellent point. Tell me in your view, why is it that people uh I think in the general culture of America, I think most people think that it's a natural disposition between Muslims and Jews, for example. It seems like they believe that they naturally hate each other, or it's in their religion to hate each other. Tell,
You
tell,
know,
tell me your view on this.
well, I have I've had health issues in the last couple of years, and I had to let go of some of the work I was doing. But some of the most important work I've done is with a group called Regeneration. And Regeneration funds schools in Israel and the West Bank where Jewish, Arab, which includes Muslim and Druze, and Christians students all are taught together. They learn Hebrew and Arabic,
Yeah.
and they do classes for the parents of those students so parents can come to know one another. And
Mhm.
then they do events for the surrounding community. So they're trying to build pockets of peace. And unfortunately, right now, with the war going on, one of the schools that we support is really close to where they're bombing. And so it's been a great sadness for us.
Yeah.
We've had to raise money to build a shelter for the students at that school.
Mhm.
So, but uh,
Mhm.
that's out of that work. We actually organized an interfaith pilgrimage to the Holy Land. I think it was 2013. And so we had a Catholic bishop. We had an imam who's head of an Islamic university, and we had two rabbis. They were a married couple. And so when we were in the Holy Land, each leader would guide us through if we were visiting the walking the walk of Christ when he was carrying the cross that was led by the Christian person.
Yes.
And so we went through like that. And it was, people looked at us and asked us, why are you guys here together? I mean, people were really surprised.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
we just need more of this. We need more awareness. And people want to promote, well, all the bombing and stuff. Yeah, but there's a group here in Southern California called New Ground. They're Muslim and Jews. And they do, and they bring students in to mentor them, to train them, to give them skills.
Mm.
And
Wow. Wow. This is this
New
is
Ground, yeah.
Yeah, this is excellent, new ground. This is excellent. And this is why I wanted you to be here because I want the people who are viewing our station here on the East Coast to realize that people have been doing this for a long time. The Interfaith Dialogue is not new.
No,
It
no.
is, it is something that's been going on for a long time, and people should find people like you and find out how it was done, what organizations are doing it now, and get some direction because we can't continue to
Yeah,
backbite each other for the rest of
yeah,
our lives. You
yeah.
know, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, I have several really close Jewish friends, and one of them, she and I were talking one day. I said I wanted to have a green burial when I die. She says, "Oh, I do too." And I had done some research and found that out in the desert in Joshua Tree, there was a green cemetery. So
Uh,
she and I went out there and we bought three plots in a row. One was for her and her husband, and the other is for me. So we're going to continue our work in the afterlife.
oh, and God give you grace. Great. I pray that that happens exactly where you felt it. Uh, Tell me, how are you doing with the Christian community, especially those people who are um, a little bit anxious, a little bit aggressive in terms of you accepting Jesus as Lord and Savior, and there is no other way to God but this way. How have you been reconciling that obvious challenge?
Well, it's a particular challenge. I just came back from, I had to go to Indiana. One of my brothers died.
Mhm.
And so I went back and I had a week with my family there. And they're all very Christian.
Yes, yes,
And
right.
they think I'm going to hell. And
Mm.
it's so amazing to think that somebody looks at me and thinks me and my life is going to hell.
Yes, yes,
Well,
I
who
understand.
knows? God knows best, right?
God knows best. Yeah.
So, but so we don't talk religion when I'm there or politics either, actually. Come to think of it.
You want to have a good dinner, I gather.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I think that sometimes is the best way to deal with family members who have that who's not willing to dialogue. And when you have that kind of situations, I think even the Quran says that just walk away. But
Yes, yes.
you just need to have peace. You know, I think peace is better. Uh,
Peace is
uh,
better.
Now, how you dealing with the non-believers, the people who are atheists who don't believe in any of it?
Well, the first thing that I thought of when you asked that, and when I read the questions,
Yeah.
is when I go out in the world and someone smiles at me, I stop and I say, "Thank you for your smile." I said, "Have you ever heard in Islam that when you smile at someone, it's considered giving charity?" I do this all the time. Walking up, when I walk my dog, when I go to a store, and people are always touched by it. So they're having an impression of Islam that is so positive.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
That's
And you don't have to preach. You just simply do.
no, you
Um,
just have
uh,
to be.
be
Just have
right.
to be loving.
I think that's right, and I think a lot of people miss that in theology. Period. The doing part, and I think
The
that's
doing is
yeah.
essential. Yeah.
I think that's one of the things when I talk to people, but of Christian faith, as one of the things I try to share with them is that we follow the walk of Christ. You know, we are Muslims, and we believe that Christ Jesus was Muslim because he said so in Scripture that he was following his Lord. And
Yes.
so I found it very stimulating to accept Christians in that way. You know, just look at what they're doing and also appreciate those who are committed to decency, justice, you know, righteousness. And you know, Martin Luther King comes to my mind when I think of
Oh,
that
yes.
kind of
Yes.
leader, you know.
Mm-mm.
Um, I was curious about your views about the core values that unite our faith. This is number six on your list.
Oh, good.
The core values that unite people of faith across religions. What are your views?
Oh, well, one of the things as I was preparing for today, I came across this, which I thought was relative. The prophet, peace upon him, said, "Souls are like recruited troops, armies. Those who get to know one another will develop mutual understanding, and those who are strangers are more likely to dispute." So I think
Mm.
that really says it right there, right?
Hmm. You're more unlikely to make your friend your enemy, so to speak. And yes, you will probably be more likely to be at war with your enemy. No
I
question
think,
about that.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's good logic. So in your interaction with with your interfaith group, what values do you think that you most talk about that unites you?
Well, I
No,
think the
is
first
it
thing that
love? Is it?
comes to my mind is the importance of listening.
Mhm,
Because if we're not really listening to another talk about his faith and his beliefs,
mhm.
and then we want to try to enter into a dialogue, we're not going to know how to be sensitive to not disrespecting what they believe in,
Yeah.
and not to have to feel like we have to convince them that they're wrong,
Mhm,
not to have
mhm.
the mind so busy that it's not tuning into the heart of what's being said.
What's being said to a person? Yes, yes. I think that's right. Now tell me about a Quranic view on forgiveness, peace, and justice. Those are some major themes there. We
Oh,
could
yes.
we could have actually had the entire conversation about either one of those.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's forgiveness. We have to forgive ourselves for when we have done not right.
Mhm.
And I'm dealing with that right now, actually. I have a short list of people that I have difficulty with. And when I started on my list, I was spending 40 days on each person, sending them prayers and blessings. And I was going along fine. And then I came to one person on my list and I stopped doing the practice. I could not, I wasn't ready.
Right.
So I have to forgive myself, but I have to keep working and having that as my goal
Mhm.
is to forgive this person. It's a person that is important for me to forgive.
Well, what is the issue that you're trying to work through? I'm just curious.
It's how this person treated my daughter.
Gotcha. Right. Okay. All right. So this is almost a family member, I gather.
Well, it used to be a family member.
I uh, all right. So tell me about your ideas about justice then, and what are your feelings about being a just person walking this earth?
Well, the Quran says, "O believers, stand firm for Allah and bear true testimony. Do not let the hatred of a people lead you to injustice.
Yeah.
Be just. That is closer to righteousness. And
Mm.
be mindful of Allah.
Yeah.
Surely Allah is all aware of what you do."
Mm. Mm.
So how do we have to make sure that what we're doing is always just?
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
And that's
Yeah.
putting the ego aside.
Mm.
We have to lay the nafs down, right?
Right, right. I think that's right. But tell me, uh, in your interfaith work, do you see an opportunity to correct an injustice? I know I do.
Oh, well, I have to think about, could you ask me that in another way? I didn't.
Sure, I have run into situations where a minister actually took time out of his Sunday service to say something to his congregation that was not true about Islam and Muslims, right? That Muslims were violent and they were a religion that promoted fighting and killing non-Muslims. And it was something to this effect. And I heard his lecture on his website. Now he was also a part of the interfaith group, so I kind of felt, kind of a
He
need.
was in interfaith?
He was in their faith group, yes.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
yes, he was doing some double what they call double consciousness, as Du Bois would say it. He was saying one thing to us in the group and saying another thing to his congregants who needed to hear
Oh,
what he needed
oh,
to
that's
say there.
interesting.
And so I called him and I said to him, I said, if you are going to do a talk like this in the future, you know, call me and let's get together on this because it becomes
Yay.
very challenging when you were saying one thing to me and saying another thing to his congregation. I think he understood it. In fact, he offered me about two or three different opportunities to speak in his congregation, and
Uh-huh.
that was really decent of him, because I think that what he was doing was something political in his congregation. I don't think he
Uh-huh.
actually believed what he was saying, but there was a
Well, shame on
family,
him.
yeah, it was a family that was running him crazy there. So
Oh man.
so 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 Noor, tell me about peace. What do you've been working on peace for a while. Tell me about peace in your brand of Islam, so to speak.
Is that on an what question is that? I want to look at my
That
notes.
that's seven.
Seven.
Yeah,
Okay. Sorry, Chima.
it's all right. I'm
I'm
with
old. What can I
I'm,
say?
you're not. I'm with you. I'm with you.
No, I'm probably older than you.
Absolutely.
So, so for peace, well, Islam means peace. It comes from the root word of peace.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there is no Islam without peace.
There's no Islam without peace. Yes, I think that yes, to just live the way God created things, and I think that is our objective is to find peace in this life. I think that's right. There's no Islam without peace. Um, the the next question I wanted to ask you was concerning gender equality. I don't know if you had that problem in the West Coast there, but we have a lot of gender inequality over here in the East Coast. So tell me, what are your views?
Well, it's interesting because when I came to Islam, I found this amazing mosque. Just wonderful. I couldn't have asked Dr. Mayor Hatu. God bless him. He's he was such an influence on me, and he was very involved in his leadership in interfaith. And tell me the question again. I got carried away in my
The
thoughts and
gender equality. Uh,
gender equality. Yes. So at that mosque, they had women that were holding positions in the mosque that some mosques wouldn't do. We didn't have to go to a different door to enter the mosque.
yeah,
First mosque I went to or not the first, but the second one I went to, I come up to the front door and there are all these men standing there. So I go, okay, that's probably not where I go. And I finally, and nobody said anything. They saw me stand there for a long time. I finally asked, I said, where do I come in? Oh, go into the back and then go up the stairs and then there's a room there. And
yeah, yeah.
we
Mhm.
were tucked away. And I've gone to several mosques where women were stuck in a room somewhere that was like a storage room with a TV monitor. And oh, I didn't like that.
Yeah, me either.
So the mosque that I found was just wonderful. Everybody was in one big room and men and women were separated,
Mhm.
but then through Facebook, I saw some woman posted she was starting the Women's Mosque of America. I
Mhm.
was the first person to respond to her. I said, I'm in. And so, and the great thing is that it was uh, the Imam Jihad Turk is just a wonderful human being. And he was the interfaith leader on our pilgrimage for Islam. And he's president of Bayan University. It's the first Islamic university here in Southern California. And I've been influenced by a lot of people like him, and he helped the women figure out how to organize the women's mosque.
Gotcha.
So everything was up to code.